Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Me and my colleagues here work for a department that's called Strategic Partnerships and Ecosystems. And what does that mean is that basically we scout for different technology trends, but we also form partnerships with startups, with other corporates, organizations, associations, and so on. So I would really encourage you today that we talk, exchange, and maybe set up for future collaboration. Why did we choose this topic today, and why with Plug and Play? Because like I stated here and maybe skipped on it, we have two vehicles that we manage for the purpose of these goals. One of those vehicles is Elevator Lab, and this is a partnership program that we use. In the past, we used it for collaboration only with startups, and this is also how we started working with Plug and Play, scouting startups, delivering POCs, and so on. But now we also use it for cross-industry collaboration with other corporates, with organizations, universities, associations, and so on. Our other vehicle is also Blockchain Hub. So if any of you are interested in this, we can also connect you to some of the colleagues that work there. A little technical glitch. So why AI in finance? When we were discussing with Plug and Play about the topic of today's event, we basically said that this is a buzzword and a big topic for us this year. And the reason for it is because we expect that it will change financial industry drastically. We see it now at this tipping point that started sometime in 1950s, and now under the influence of different trends, it is growing and changing. And again, I would encourage that we talk about it today. And even before this event started, just mingling around, I saw that a lot of people have different opinions and different views on the topic. So maybe we can discuss it more further. Yeah, I promised that I would be very, very brief. So thank you all. Enjoy the event. I also added my personal email and LinkedIn. We can connect. But also here are some links for the bank and our vehicles. So thank you so much. Let's talk later and enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Elma. Perfect. And then I'm not sure where the clicker stayed, but we can go to the next one. Oh.
I left it behind
Here. Perfect. Next up, more applauses. I'd like to welcome our partner for EMEA Ventures, Carolin Wais. There we go. Before we hit it off, how many of you are familiar with Plug and Play? I guess everyone should be. You're here, no? That's free brews for everyone. But no, thank you very much for coming. We're very excited to co-host together with Raiffeisen Bank our event. We've been working with them for the last 5 years. But if you're not familiar with Plug and Play, the idea for today was to tell you a bit more about it. So, Caro, if you want to kick it off.
Yeah, hi everyone, pleasure to be here. Actually, one of the first events where not that many people know Plug and Play, so it's even better that we're pitching it now. Quick check to the audience. Who's a startup today? Very nice. Who's working for a corporate? And who's an investor? Also a couple of people.
We kick them out.
And actually, this diversity has always been our mission and vision. We started Plug and Play in 2006 in the Silicon Valley, and we want to connect the world's leading entrepreneurs with the largest organizations for meaningful connections and progress the world through innovation. As Plug and Play, we've built an ecosystem that brings together all of the parties in the ecosystem, corporations, startups, but of course also investors, regulators, universities, and through that, we combine the entire ecosystem and create this platform where we can really progress the world through innovation and form new ideas and new meaningful pilots. Our competitive edge has been built over the last years. We now work with more than 600 corporations globally. We're in 55 locations. Actually, many of those have been launched in the last years. And we scout over 10,000 new startups every year, so very, very active. Our team is now more than 800 people, and we facilitate over 1,000 events a year. So if this is your first plug-and-play event, there's many more to come, and always great connections to be made. Here's a list of some of our partners that we work with, and we actually serve over 20 different verticals, keeping an eye on the trends in different industries and in different geographies. When we look at innovation, we look at the initial phase of innovation. How do you set up an innovation environment in a big corporation? How do you educate the teams? How do you actually define the topics that you want to jump into? And how do you move from an initial interesting idea to a pilot to an implementation? Over the last years, we've also built out more services to really facilitate this integration into the business, such as investment services, training our corporate partners to set clear KPIs for each stage of this investment process, and then also really implementing this in different geographies. This is how we ramp up all of the services from end to end and help the entire innovation ecosystem. We've actually backed some of the best entrepreneurs over the last years and have 35 unicorns, so companies with over $1 billion of valuation in our portfolio. And 26 is one of the very famous German examples, but we've also been early backers of Dropbox, PayPal, Google, and many more companies that you might recognize here. One of our latest unicorns is, for instance, also Black Demon, where we see really a huge potential going forward. Today, we've also invited many of these innovative startups to the event, and we hope that you find many touch points and potential pilot opportunities. So we hope that you enjoy it, and we're really looking forward to the conversations and discussions today.
Yes, to give you a bit more insights, I will borrow that, thank you, into Plug and Play. And for those of you, as Carolin said, we started in Silicon Valley, and then from there, we've been expanding globally. We're now present in more than 51 locations, and Frankfurt is one of them. Some of you that have been following the Frankfurt journey know that we've been here 5 years already. Some people are still surprised, but some of the familiar faces since the very beginnings I know are here in the room, so very excited on that as well. Moving into the next one as well, more into the fintech practice and what we're doing specifically for fintech. I don't know if we can go to the next one, Jota. There you go. Yeah, we've been working with some of the largest financial institutions out there, helping them, as Carolin mentioned, through the whole end-to-end innovation journey. Some of them much more focused on scouting, identifying new trends, but also some of them more focused on investment per se. What are financial institutions looking for? At the end of the day, there are three main pillars that we follow with them and we work with them. The first one is really improving the customer experience. This is something that everyone is looking at these days, and AI is something that we'll have a couple of panels later and we'll talk on this, and also a very inspiring keynote. Second one is increasing revenues. Everyone is looking at new ways to generate new revenue within the organization, and bring new products, new offerings for their clients, and then also decreasing the cost within the organization. I know right now the macroeconomics are a bit turbulent, and everyone is looking at it, and of course cost optimization is something that everyone is of interest. To give you some case studies, if you might not be familiar with what we do, one of our most known one is the program we run with BNP Paribas. It's based out of Paris, and really the objective is to drive innovation within the organization. As you can imagine, some of the largest organizations like BNP, with such a global presence, it is very complicated to engage with so many business lines to drive innovation within each business line and support. So we're very excited. We've been engaging for the last 5 years with them, have accomplished more than 46 commercial pilots, and very much, day on day, continue working with the teams. Also, we have put together a compilation of our fintech AI expert predictions. Those experts are the startups we have with us today. So if you're interested, feel free to scan the QR. It will also be shown later, but it can be very interesting if you want to take some takeaways already. With that said, I would like to kick it off already into the first discussions, and we are starting very high with our startup demos. First one up, we've got our amazing Dr. Dominic. Dr. Dominic. There you go. Big round of applause for him.
Thank you.
That should work. There you go.
Do I still need this or?
Yeah, you click the next one.
All right. Okay, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be part of this year. We already had a pleasure to be part of Plug and Play Startup Autobahn, and this is a great opportunity for us to also have a more fintech community here. I'm Dominik Dellermann. I'm the CEO and founder of Vencortex, and what we do with Vencortex is we build software to optimize management decisions. So everything that is related to big corporate investments, M&A decisions, R&D investments, and Vencortex is basically the spin-off of my PhD thesis, where I was working on developing models and ways to augment decision-making in such complex domains. We are from Germany, and today I will show you a little bit of what we do and why we do it, and happy to discuss afterwards more details on that. So I guess you're starting the video, or?
You go to the next slide. One more.
That looks good. But I think you should turn the sound off.
Where uncertainty and rapid change are the norm, the decisions you make hold the key to your success. The ability to make fast and accurate decisions sets you apart from the competition. That's why we created DEOS.
All right, so maybe I just don't need to make the presentation because my voice is already doing it, even without AI. No worries. Perfect. All right, thank you. So, as I said, DEOS is a software that is focusing on optimizing decision-making in organizations. And we see that this is the key driver of success of any company, no matter in which industry you are, especially in a world like today where we already heard very critical macroeconomic conditions and so on. And that's why we build DEOS as a software to optimize management decisions, the whole pipeline, really from data to actions in a lot of different use cases across organizations and industries. And what I want to show you today is kind of a demo of our product. So I will guide you a little bit through the product, because many times we see that people say, hey, we don't have a comparable solution, so it's hard to imagine. So I want to show you a little bit of how we do it. So everything in our software starts with one click. So we structured decisions across templates. So that means we create a repeatable process for you that basically holds all the information, AI models, data models, and processes that you need to make decisions, and we can adjust this to your specific process, to your specific needs. The second step is you have the ability to manage workflows. So typically when we have this huge decisions like M&A, you have a long process of collecting data, analyzing data, bringing together insights, and this you can manage in a transparent way and with clear responsibilities in our software. Next step is connecting data. We really focus on decision-centric data integration, so no worries. You don't have to integrate your whole SAP systems and your whole legacy systems. It's really easy to get started, and it's built for business users, so we have data management that is very visual and very easy to use for our clients. On top of that, we also provide you with market data that just comes out of the box from our side. Now the interesting part, automating predictions with AI. What do we mean by that? We have a set of pre-trained AI models that you can use just out of the box, and that basically solve different tasks for you that are required for decision making. For example, forecasting, simulation, valuation, question answering, and market insights. And the way, again, we do it is, as you can see, it's just one click. So everything technical is running in the background, it's integrated in a business workflow, and you don't need to worry about the whole process of data, of AI, and so on. with this click, you already get insights that are fully customizable to your specific use case and your specific needs. And now that we have all this kind of predictions, our goal is to actually support a decision, right? So we need a way to basically combine all the different predictions into a graph that represents cause and effect of your decision. And by that, we give you the possibility to follow the way all the way up and down a recommendation. So a transparent way to basically know how to decide. And then the core thing is the end result, which is a recommendation and answer to concrete insights that help you with making the decisions that always answer the question of why we come up with that. As I already said, we support a lot of different use cases from R&D investments, CapEx investments, M&A, portfolio transformation, and so on. And we help you with making better, faster, and more efficient decisions and build the competitive advantage of the next decades, probably. And getting started with us is pretty easy. We offer a fast-track pilot with getting started with us in just 40 days. So it's easy to try it out, to gain value, and then to unlock millions of business value every year with optimizing your really important decisions. So happy to discuss about it in more detail afterwards if you have any questions. And let's transform your decision-making together by combining your human intuition with the power of AI. Thank you.
Big round of applause. We do have time for one question. I don't know if we have a question from someone. Nope. Perfect. Then
All right.
thank you very much. We can give him another round of applause. He deserves. Perfect. Next up, we have Parloa. Let's go to the next slide. That's you, right? Welcome. Alexander.
I'm Alex. Elma is over there. Yes.
Perfect. I'm just going to ask you to stand here.
Okay.
I didn't mention this at the beginning, but for the people watching us from home.
That's nice. That's nice. Hey, great to be here. Good to see you all and to see so many people here experienced in banking and finance and yeah, well, except me. But we have something in common, all that we are here. We have something in common, and that is we are customers. We are all customers, and we're all somehow frustrated due to bad customer experiences. And yeah, you might want to listen to that one here. Second.
Welcome to Kronos Insurance. Please say contract if you want to change your personal data or adjust your contract. Say claim if you want to report a claim or have information about
and claim.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Please say contract or press 1. Say claim or press contract. All right. Please say address or press 1 to report a new address. Say payment. All right, thank you. We are currently receiving a lot of calls, so unfortunately your estimated waiting time is about 23 minutes. Please wait.
Okay, any one of you experienced something like that? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, me too. Thank you for your honesty. And yeah, that is where Parloa comes into play. Because we think customers deserve better. And that's why we developed the world's best platform, multi-channel platform for conversational AI on the market. And yeah, I don't want to talk about Parloa. What I want is let Parloa talk for itself. And yeah, let's join me for a call another call and show you how a customer experience would look, feel, or maybe listen like when using Parloa for this one. By the way, this will be a live call, so no tricks, no smokes and mirrors, all the risk on my small shoulders.
Hello and welcome to Kronos Insurance. What can I do for you?
Well, I just moved over to the US and would need to change my address, but I couldn't because I forgot my password.
Okay, I am happy to record your new address in our system and also reset your password. The best way is to start with your new address. First, please tell me your customer number.
My customer number is 123456789.
I repeat, 123456789, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and what is your full name?
My name's John Targaryen.
Great, I was able to authenticate you successfully. Now please tell me your address.
Well, my new address is 20 Albany Street in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
All right, 20 Albany Street in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, from when does the new address change apply?
Or by today?
Good, so the valid date is June 29th, 2023. Am I right?
Yes.
Would you like me to send you an SMS to confirm your new address?
No, thanks.
Great. Now we come to your second request, resetting your password. The best way to do this is to go to our website. Just navigate to the login page and click on Forgot Password. Do you want me to just send you the direct link via SMS?
Oh, yes, that would be great.
Good. The SMS is on its way. Is there something else I can do for you?
No, thanks.
Good. Thanks for calling Kronos Insurance. See you next time.
Yeah. Now, didn't that sound a lot better? Yeah. Well, if you want to know more about Parloa and learn how you and your teams can create customer experiences like these and also leverage generative AI for your customer service, then let's have a chat afterwards, after the presentations here. Until then, I hope you will enjoy the show and yeah, have a great day. Thanks a lot for your patience. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, AKA John. We got that one. But no, I'm very excited. We have time for a question. Do we have a question? We do have a question, but I'm going to ask you to come back here. There we go.
Yeah, just get John. Yeah, good.
Is it only in English or you have other languages?
We have nearly all the languages in the world, so to say. So no, it's actually based on the languages that are delivered with Microsoft Azure. So that's what we're using, and that's the broadest spectrum of languages you can have, and it's the best quality. So we intentionally decided to go that way.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Big round of applause. There we go. Thank you, Alexander. Moving on to the next one. We are very excited to have Vespia, Julia, and Anton. There we go. Two microphones. Big round of applause for them as well.
Hello, hello. Tallinn calling. Awesome. First of all, plug and play. Big thanks for inviting us. We're from Tallinn, Estonia. Always nice to come to Germany and enjoy a nice Fritz Cola with some awesome people. For half of the price, by the way, compared to Estonia. So we are Julia and Anton from Vespia, two co-founders from Estonia, and we are a RegTech / AML compliance platform. We can show the video. We're like the Batman of business verification and AML compliance. So we're a team of AML, KYC, KYB professionals, and our mission is to help businesses build trust with each other in a matter of seconds. Vespia is an all-in-one AI-powered business verification and AML compliance platform. So with us, you can verify any business, customer, partner, investor, supplier, whoever in a matter of seconds from any part of the world. So how it works is, this is our platform. You can verify a company based on only minimum input. So we need only the name of the company or the half of the registration code, jurisdiction, and you will receive a report in a matter of seconds. So we cover all of the commercial registers, AML sanctions lists, PEPs, etc., and more than 5,000 sources basically. And you will receive a full overview of the company, the people behind the company, shareholders, founders, UBO information, you name it, we have it. And all fresh information straight out of the source. But we don't stop there. We're not just a data aggregator. A big part of what we do is risk pre-assessment, risk analysis, and helping you with making a decision, whether you want to onboard this customer or not. So for that, we use Julia AI. Julia is a compliance officer, and she can summarize everything for you and give you suggestions on whether it's a good idea to onboard this customer and do business with them or not. So what she does is she takes all of this information, analyzes in a matter of seconds, and provides you with guidance and suggestions whether the industry is high risk. Is somebody sanctioned in the company? Where is this company heading towards, etc. And you can actually teach Julia to recognize your own risk appetite, risk patterns, and your own AML processes. So she can give you a more personalized recommendations. And so all you need to do is just take it in, and whether you agree with it or not, it's up to you. On top of that, if you want to do a more deep dive into the risk assessment, what we can also do is risk assessment AI. So it highlights the risks for you and puts a risk label to all the entities inside the company, as well as the company itself, based on your own risk, again, appetite and patterns. So it will recognize whether the company you're dealing with is high, medium, low risk, and you can also tweak the scoring according to your own processes, etc. So super easy, and with Vespia AI, you will be able to verify and onboard a business customer in a matter of seconds, 90% faster compared to other traditional processes.
And now, okay, the company is verified, and the next step is to check the transactions, like incoming, outgoing, or intra-account transactions. Here is the AI transaction monitoring system. It has fiat. You can also add crypto if you need to, and basically it's fully customizable, and it highlights the suspicious activities using AI. AI generates these different buckets of suspicious activities, basically different classes and types of those activities. And what we are doing, we are using the hybrid approach. So we use the classical models, proven models in the banking sector, insurance sector for like decades, neural networks, genetic algorithms, and so forth. And we merge it with the latest developments in language models. Yeah, we basically were able to get amazing results using that. Then let's say if you found the suspicious transaction, you copy, paste the customer ID, and then you can verify, go deeper, and analyze the behavior, open the case if needed, and investigate, ask for more documents, whatsoever. Also, Julia AI can help with that. Those can tell what exactly needs to be collected. And additionally, of course, you can check that person for PEP sanctions, adverse media, and this type of things to make sure that no bad money is going through your bank. So why Julia AI? It's a merge of classical AI models and new generation language models like GPT type and so forth. Then it's fully modular. You just use basically whatever you want from the whole platform. And we deploy everywhere, like on-premise, on your cloud subscription, and so forth, even bare metal. Here's the QR code to book a quick call, deeper demo of the solution. And yeah, also come over our stand, and we were happy to tell you more.
Yeah, let us know if you need help with KYC, AML, KYB, and we'll get you sorted because we provide you with a template on how to be fully AML compliant 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Yeah, great question. We're teaching the AI to recognize different jurisdictions.
And yeah, also basically we constantly monitoring different jurisdictions, and soon our AI, I think in like 3 weeks, will be able to tell what exact procedures are for certain countries and what kind of things you need to follow, and if you need to change or adjust something, because regulations are changing over time too.
Also, when you come in as a new customer, everything will be set up for you according to your needs and jurisdictions that you need to onboard customers from.
And one more question, what about newly established companies? How come is the system already available to scan these companies that are, let's say, weeks old?
Yes, of course. And this kind of one of the problems that we are solving, because if you look at the world like 5-10 years ago, then businesses are established and so forth. Nowadays, the world is so dynamic, companies open and close within weeks, especially if you speak like crypto, we speak like this type of things, NFTs and so forth. People raise and like burn money in just weeks. So, yeah.
Yeah, everything comes in real time, straight from the commercial register. And on top of that, we also see everything around the company that was just created, all the founders, what they were doing before, other companies associated, etc.
There was one more question.
Yep.
Regarding transactional data, again, I think the colleague said it well, that there's different access to banking accounts or to the information about the transactions. How do you solve this? And my question goes in the direction, are you able to cover a sufficient amount of the transactions of a company that you can say, well, we cover 80, 90, 100%? Because this is then give you the full picture. If you don't see the full range of transactions of perhaps a company or a group of international companies, it's hard to draw conclusions. How do you solve this access to the transactional data?
Yeah, so ultimately we scan all the transactions within this bank, and also we have arrangements with Swift and a few others to basically see what's happening basically on the market at the same time.
Okay, so this is the primary sources of the information from Swift.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second, because if not, the audio team is gonna like not be happy that the people at home cannot hear. There you go.
Thanks. Your system is also performing some due diligence and giving some AML ratings, like high, medium, low. And I wonder whether this can be customized for the use of the bank applying your system, and also whether it can be reconciled for audit purposes.
Yes.
Is there a scoring scheme behind, or how do you do it?
Yes, we use the industry standards of like high-risk jurisdiction, high-risk sectors, etc. But yes, you can customize it and add your own specialities. We have a variety of customers from different sectors. Some accept sanctioned entities, some don't, etc. It all depends. So yes, it's fully customizable.
And reconcilable also for the audit purposes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to the next startup, we've got Hawk AI. There you go. Big round of applause for Falk.
Hi, everybody. Excellent. Very warm welcome also from my side. It's going to be interesting because there's somewhat an overlap in our approach compared to Vespia, so we definitely should talk. Because we're also a RegTech based out of Munich, and I think we can kick off the video. So Hawk AI today services more than 50 financial institutions, helping them complying with regulatory requirements that they're confronted with. And we do this not only very efficient, but also very effective. How are we doing this? We are basically providing our customer base with 7 modules sitting in a unified system. All of these modules can talk to each other. And basically 90% of our customers are using this as their main compliance framework for AML transaction monitoring. We're not in the KYC, KYB space. And 10% of our customers actually utilize our solutions in a modular fashion, that they are only enhancing their existing compliance framework. Today, I brought 2 use cases with me, which are centering around the machine learning functionality. One is the false positive reduction, and the second one around the anomaly detection in the behavioral analytics. So in the false positive reduction, we are helping our customers on average to reduce their false positives by 70%. And that is obviously a huge efficiency gain because, as you can see here, what the system does is it, so to say, fully automates the first line of case decisioning. So the way our AI machine learning works is that you can use it as a first set of eyes. We didn't give it a name or anything like that. But in the end, it's still something like a virtual teammate to your existing analyst team. And it basically enables to connect data points and parameters in milliseconds compared to manual processes that human beings need to execute. And you can see on the upper right the probability on why the algorithm decided that this is a false positive. And what we believe is very essential when it comes to regulation is the level of explainability. And here you can see the top reasons why the module has been deciding on why this is considered a false positive. In this particular case, it's a person sending money home to a family, same last name, same birth country, with the money that receiving, with the same country receiving the money. And that, I think, is for the regulators very important. It's very important for the auditors, and it helps also to create efficiency for your teams working on these cases. And in this respect, I think it addresses one of the biggest topics in compliance and the utilization of AI machine learning in the context of compliance, that it is a black box, which it is not, but turning things into a white box and create full transparency. The second case I brought is around the anomaly detection. The anomaly detection helps our customers to increase their true positive rates. And this is important because true positives are very seldom in the business of compliance. And machine learning can actually help with unsupervised machining techniques. And we are able to help our customers to increase their true positive rates to 40% and more. And again, here you can also see it's very transparent what the machine is using as line of argumentation in front of the regulator, in front of the auditor. But what is also very important, and we already hovered over this point, is that you not only need to look at the reasons why it is anomalous, but you also need to look at the reasons why it could be a normal transactions. And that very much defines the probability of this case being anomalous or not. We just see that machine learning creates a whole new level in terms of technology surrounding compliance and the compliance functions, and more than happy to talk with you about the topic. It's a very exciting topic for us and creates a lot of buzz currently in the industry. Thank you.
Perfect. I don't know if we have any questions. Nope. Perfect. We do.
Just on the first part you were mentioning, what's the actual algorithm component in there? Because it seems like it's just rule-based logic, right?
No, basically, it's a hybrid approach that we are following, a little bit different from Vespia because it's not AI-based only. From a compliance and regulatory perspective, we believe in an approach where you combine a rule-based system with AI machine learning technology. And the AML transaction monitoring part that you've been seeing on the first slide is completely rule-based, but then on top of that is a layer of AI machine learning, both utilizing supervised and unsupervised learning mechanisms, which typically are trained on historic data of the financial institution that we're working with. And the false positive reduction uses more models surrounding or coming from a supervised type of environment, also taking operator decisions in real time into consideration to further train the models. And on the anomaly detection, it's more unsupervised models which are clustering transactions into specific ways, taking a variety of parameters into consideration, and then spotting anomalies in these clusters. So.
Have you found ways to use the training results or the trained network from one client and port it to another client?
Yeah.
Which is a holy grail of the industry.
Yeah, it always requires the prerequisite of the client being willing to share the data. I think we are actively working on this in two ways. The first way is within the platform. We have an existing set of known patterns, and each customer can decide whether he's going to participate in the continuous training of these patterns or not. If you're not participating, you're not going to achieve or get access to these known patterns. But if you're achieving actively participating in this, then you can take advantage of that. And I would think today, roughly 65% of our customers participating in this model training, which is then fully anonymized. Here we come to the second point. We all know that network analysis is going to be one of the key topics going forward in compliance in the next 10 years. We all know the inefficiencies of our industry. We're participating in an initiative called Safe FBDC, which particularly tackles the question how data can be safely exchanged, in what ways, and what is going to make particularly banks comfortable around the topic, because of course chief information security officers of banks have reservations, but we can see encouraging signs from the Netherlands and from other areas which are picking up on the topic a little bit more proactive than the German landscape.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Nope. Then big round of applause.
Thank
you very much. As we move to the next section, and I forgot to mention it before, you guys all have a brochure in front of you with all the startups, and the next section focuses on use cases. So I was thinking, what other use case can we give? So if you're hot, you know what you have to do with the brochure. I've seen a couple of you do it. But we did swap around one thing in the agenda. We swapped around the panel and the keynote. So we have the pleasure of having Jochen with us from NVIDIA. We do? Yes, we do. There you go. Big round of applause. And if there is a master in use case, I guess that's you, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to Plug and Play and Raiffeisen for having me here. Today I want to talk about ChatGPT and other GPT models, of course, and why this could be the iPhone moment of AI. And also I'm going to talk about responsible transformation of using AI in financial services, because we are in a very regulated environment. The EU AI Act draft is on its way, so we also need to talk about that. If you provide me with a clicker, thank you. So it's always good to start with some numbers. So we do a survey in NVIDIA every year asking 500 financial service professionals about the latest and greatest in AI. And it's always a good reference here. And we see that, it's clear that AI delivers really meaningful business impact especially, for example, in risk management. We have all these geopolitical situations and a lot of emerging risks coming. So I think AI will be a big support here for banks to better manage these risks, and fintechs also, and also to manage the risk of the customer, financial risks. We see a great support of the executives, maybe because of the ChatGPT, so also non-technical people and C-suite has experienced what the power of AI is today. So at least I see that our pitch is not 1 hour, it's now 1 minute. We talk about ChatGPT and everybody knows what the power of AI is. Talking about hybrid is also important, I guess. So a number of people are in the cloud, some people are on-prem, but I think the way to go is hybrid, and I will later talk about this a little bit. Looking at the top use cases here, of course, NLP, LLMs are the powerhouse of AI in financial services. It's a very text-driven industry. By the way, we don't only have to learn human language, could also be coding language, could be payment language. So there are many languages that could be learned and processed with Gen AI. And of course, we have other interesting use cases here, recommendation systems, fraud detection, of course. And new on the list are ESG cases here, geospatial AI, very interesting approach, I guess, using satellite imagery and these things for ESG. So moving on, I think it's clear that AI has fully arrived in financial services. We have seen use cases everywhere these days, and also our customers globally, they leverage our accelerated computing platform everywhere in all these cases here. I think I don't need to talk too much about this. What is the basis platform that people use from NVIDIA is the NVIDIA AI Enterprise. It's like an AI operating system, if you wish, based on the accelerated computing layers. So accelerated infrastructure is what you need. And these days, this is available everywhere. So it's in all the clouds available. It's also on-prem, it's in the co-locations. So it doesn't really matter where the hardware sits these days. And then you need a number of other layers here. For example, an orchestration layer, Kubernetes, for example, and also MLOps platforms, for example, and of course the AI layer. So if you combine all these things, you have the entire stack, and this is how you can basically address all of these use cases in the end. And a lot of startups are doing that based on our platform. We currently work with 15,000 startups globally and with a lot of companies that just want to accelerate their applications based on our platform. And I will talk in a bit why accelerated computing is so successful and so important. And this slide shows that. So you might know that we produce these GPUs that are able to process data massively parallel. It started in gaming. Gaming is a complex simulation with visualization. You need to process data very fast. So why not use it for AI and ML? And we started about 10 years ago with the deep learning in Cambrian explosion and built this platform. And so the idea is to offload workloads from the CPU to the GPU wherever possible to accelerate things massively. And by this, you can translate the accelerated computing into things that help your organization. For example, if you are able to train more data and more models in a shorter time, you can increase your ROI. You can also reduce your cost, right? And you can reduce energy. So green IT is a big topic these days. And you can reduce the time to insight. And we are very proud of all these acceleration benchmarks that we are participating in. So we're leading the field here to really demonstrate it's the fastest and most versatile platform. And again, 15,000 startups work with us on this basis. This is a framework that's very interesting in terms of open source. So a lot of data scientists out there use Python, of course. We know the usual cycle here. You have data preparation, model training, inferencing, visualization. And you probably use one of these tools here, for example, pandas for reading huge data files, or you have an XGBoost model, maybe for machine learning, or you have a network model, or you have TensorFlow, PyTorch. So imagine you use the same workflow here in that you are used to, and then you apply it with some GPUs, and this accelerates massively. You can also use many GPUs with a desk framework, for example, and then your training time reduces from days to minutes, from hours to seconds. And that saves you the money, that makes your models better. And that's why companies like, for example, Capital One, they use this to process their data, to learn to train their models. And just by doing this, they reduce their 26-hour runtime to a few minutes here, and that saves them 65 million per year. And I know that startups are always looking for how to save cost, how to save energy, and this is a way to do. And that's not only the machine learning, it's also the AI, that the training part and the data preparation step, everything can be accelerated with the platform. But also very important, when you have the model, you want to go live, you want to go to production. And to make sure that this is also efficient, we have developed some interesting tools. TensorRT makes your deep learning model much more efficient in that sense, faster. And also we have the Triton inference server, which helps you to build pipelines for deployment at scale. And all these software pieces, by the way, are free. And we work very closely with the open source community here. So you are in the end, you are really able to build a completely streamlined workflow. So this is the state of technology, state of the art. So now talking about the interesting developments that we have recently seen, the iPhone moment of AI, the ChatGPT. And it's really interesting to understand where this is coming from. So for this, we need to go back like 10 years. There were a bunch of guys there that were participating in a computer vision contest. So computer vision is like training cat and dog pictures, right? And identifying which animal you see on this. And those guys were very successful here in this ImageNet challenge. And one of the reasons was they were doing the training much faster. They could train a lot more cycles. And how did they do this? They just started with a simple graphics cards for gaming, and that was the trick, right? They accelerated their training by these graphics cards. And our founder and CEO, Jensen, he saw this and he observed this, and then he decided to really go big on this, invested massive resources in building a platform for deep learning and training those models. And 10 years later, just right now, basically the same happened. Because, and it's funny that Ilya Sutskever, he actually did it again, this time with the transformer architectures. Attention is all you need from Google, the paper. So he trained huge models on textual data, and that was the beginning of the GPT, the ChatGPT moment. This time it was a little bit more, it was 1 million times more floating point operations than to train the AlexNet 10 years ago. So you see, accelerated computing grew a lot, and for training ChatGPT you need 10,000 GPUs. And GPT-4, you can imagine, much bigger, right? And again, our CEO and founder, Jensen, he saw this coming, so we produced an own supercomputer for our headquarters back then, and we built the second one, and we gave it to Ilya for OpenAI to build ChatGPT, basically. And these days, all the tech companies like Microsoft, Google, and all the others, most of them leverage this computing platform in the end by NVIDIA. So it's interesting to see where this is coming from. And yeah, where is it going? Generative AI is like a new computing platform. It's like as revolutionary as the PC, as the internet. It's going to be a general interface to many other languages, maybe also to other AI models. Everybody can be a coder, everybody can be a knowledge worker. And it's not only human language that we can train, it's coding language, it can be payments language, it can be different languages, right? For example, we also work with the pharma industry. You could also train a large language model based on sequence data and invent new molecules or protein foldings. All this can be done with GPT. So expect huge changes in our economy and efficiency gains. And so maybe in the future, this could be a vision, is that companies are manufacturing intelligence and they all operate on an AI factory. So at the heart of a company that is doing services, a service company, there will be an AI factory that powers all these models and trainings. And as I mentioned before, accelerated computing is sustainable computing. Our data centers globally are power limited. A lot of the data centers are at the limit of what they are allowed to use in terms of energy. We know that here in Frankfurt there are many of those. And what can you do about it? So one of the things is if you replace the CPU in the data center by the GPUs for all the data centers out there, you would save an amount of 1.7 million US home energy consumptions. So it's that much, right? So there's still potential. We can grow our models. We can serve the Gen AI, but we need to talk about energy efficiency. So accelerated computing is sustainable computing. Yeah, so this is NVIDIA today. It's not only about the chips, and it's not only about the GPU. It's several chips that you combine to build these large-scale computers. And very important is the software. So the software ecosystem and working with the developers globally, that's key here. And 70% of our colleagues are software engineers these days. So it's very interesting that the software is so important here. And as I said before, 14,000 Inception startups we work with. And we lead the Green 500 supercomputing rankings, which is important in terms of efficiency, energy efficiency. So I think I can more or less skip this slide. It's clear that in every area of the bank, of the fintech startup, of the insurance company, you can leverage generative AI and LLMs, front to back, maybe also serving regulatory reportings, customer interaction, chatbots, digital services, everything is possible. Also, you can become a coding bank, right? Just quickly talking about the NeMo LLM framework. So that's our proprietary large language model frameworks for those who want to not build in the cloud, but rather want to build their own customized model, which is interesting for regulatory or public service companies like central banks or some banks that have proprietary data that's not supposed to go to the cloud, so they can build their own model at home in their own data center. But they can also use the cloud. So again, the NVIDIA computing platform is also in those clouds available, but you can also use it in your own data center. And we have some interesting tools here in talking about trustworthiness. This is what I talked about in the beginning. We have the guardrails developed. It's an open source tool that we released 1 month ago. And that helps anyone who builds large language models of any kind to make this model more trustworthy, more safe, and more secure, because it guardrails the domain of application, so you can reduce hallucination. There are tools to reduce the toxicity, the hallucination, the bias in the model, so you have more control over the model, and you can integrate it with third-party applications. And it's an open source project, so I hope that there are people that contribute to this, improve it, and to make these things more enterprise ready. So we can really leverage this in a professional environment and also maybe in high-risk AI applications in terms of AI Act. Yeah, we work also with interesting banks. For example, here, Deutsche Bank, because we are in Frankfurt, we have an innovation partnership going on with them, also building large language model and a number of other interesting projects. And on the last 2 slides on the content, I wanted to demonstrate or show you what could come after the Gen AI wave. And I believe this could be another beast, interesting technology. It's physics, machine learning, physics AI. So we are currently building the Earth 2 project. It's a digital twin of the Earth where we simulate the atmosphere. And we want to predict in the future the change of climate. And this has, of course, a great application in all industries. Also in insurance, also in, for example, ESG reportings. So this is going to be very interesting. And what we have already published is a project called ForecastNet that's for extreme weather. So looking at the next 10 days, it's a weather forecast, as everybody knows, everybody uses, but with the extremes. So you get a distribution. You know how heavy is going to be the wind, how extreme is the weather going to be. So this could change the also insurance and cat risk industry. Really looking forward to seeing this more in action in the next few months. So physics, machine learning, physics AI, it's basically a surrogate model simulations of physical processes, and this accelerates by AI 100,000x. So that's why you can do all these things. Of course, you need a little bit of compute power. And another interesting project I just wanted to briefly present, because people are not aware of this, is the quantum simulator. So it's not easy to get access to a quantum computing environment these days. Maybe it's expensive. You can simulate these guys. Quantum is a software that lets you simulate any quantum computing environment. So you can develop the code on a regular GPU base, right? So, and this is something that a lot of startups out there use because it's easier accessible, and they use the usual frameworks here, just like back then with the deep learning, the PyTorch TensorFlow. Now we have the Qiskit and other frameworks, and we work directly with them, so it's abstracted away. It is like you are using the quantum computer. The other thing is also interesting, CUDA Quantum, open source platform, which let you develop integrated solutions. If you have access to a quantum computer, that's not enough. You need to combine it with a GPU and a CPU, and maybe many of them. So in the end, you combine all these chips and program them in one framework, because there's no such thing as a standalone quantum computer. You always need the combination of these QPU, GPU, DPU, CPU, and so forth. That's an open source project, actually, the CUDA Quantum. So for those guys out there who plan to build a quantum startup, just a few next steps if you're interested. So we have this Deep Learning Institute where you have courses on data science, on accelerated computing, of course. NVIDIA developer program is out there, a lot of free content, blogs, code examples, and so forth. And we have the Inception program, which is also free to attend, no equity taken or something. It's just like startups can test and probe our accelerated computing platform and see if they can leverage this in their business to reduce costs, to build larger models, better models, whatever. And I've demonstrated how this can be done here. And we have the NGC. It's like a portal where you can download pre-trained models, small and large, and where you find all these workflows and all these software tools, for example, GPU accelerated TensorFlow or PyTorch. And just by updating the software here, you can accelerate your GPU that you already have. So in the past 2 years, we were able to accelerate, to double the speed up by 2x just by updating the software. So we work on the software optimizations for you guys so that you still have more acceleration with an already bought GPU. Yeah, and GTC, it's a conference where you can see how the startups are in action, how they leverage this platform, what use cases they apply. So it's really a good opportunity to see where this entire AI industry is going, and we have special tracks on financial services, of course, and also we had Deutsche Bank there with the transformer examples. So with this, thank you very much, and if you have questions, I'm still around. You can also get a Launchpad access where you can test supercomputers for 2 weeks. Also an interesting thing, and here's my email. Just shoot me a mail if you have questions. So thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much. We can take one question before we head to the break. No? Okay.
How far we are really, truly away from the functional quantum computing?
Sorry?
How far we are from a really functional quantum computer?
I don't know. The frameworks you have seen give you all the options. If it's not coming, you can still simulate. If you think it's coming, you can use the CUDA quantum and combine the quantum computer with the GPUs and the CPUs. So everything, we position ourselves in a way that it can come whatever comes, right?
Thanks.
Do we still have some good energy in the room? Let's try again. Do we still have some good energy in the room? That's it. That's it. Bring it on for our next panel. Our next panel, if we can go to the next slide. There we go. I'd like to welcome on stage Catalina Aratianu, Senior Partnerships and Ecosystem Manager, and Daniel, Chief Data and Innovation Officer. Big round of applause for them too. That was not a big round of applause. Let's try again. Big round of applause for them too. Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. As we head into the next half an hour, and we have two amazing panelists, in the brochure you will see a third one. And that's the problem of him not being here, is what happens when you have kids. So unfortunately, he had a little incident with one of his kids and had to stay at home today. Kicking it off, maybe quick introduction to each one of you two. Catalina, do you want to kick it off?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Good to be here. Wow, all AI-related events of this year, they have a lot of attention. So when I see people sitting on the floor and so, okay, this is an AI event, so welcome everybody. Okay, I'm Catalina. I'm with the Raiffeisen Bank International for about a bit more than 4 years now, but I have experience also in Raiffeisen in one of the network banks that you saw earlier that Elma showed you. Currently, I look at technologies, and especially from the lens of how these technologies that come will impact our business model as banks. So how is this going to change us? I don't really speak software, but I do speak human, or what we call it natural language these days. So this is really an interesting and exciting development that's been going on, and it has my full attention.
Okay, welcome all. So, as it is mentioned, my role is Chief Data and Innovation Officer. This is quite unusual in our landscape, but I lead the division of Innovation, Advanced Analytics and Data Governance. So we are trying to merge innovations with all this AI stuff together with data governance and the regulatory topics. So besides these sexy topics, I'm also responsible for implementation of the regulation like BCBS 239, single resolution boards, communication with ECB. And what we try to do is to, let's say, merge this regulatory landscape with the innovation approach. Also in the innovation department, we are currently establishing a venture builder division, so how to be able to encapsulate our expertise into some future ventures and endeavors. And yes, I'm within the Tatra Bank. Tatra Bank is one subsidiary of the Raiffeisen Bank. I'm there for like 5 years, and yes, the first steps were to establish a data science team.
Maybe the first question, how we have a lot of startups, there's a lot of buzz around AI. How do we navigate as a bank, as a financial institution, through the noise that there is out there right now? It was a panel, but I think it's a fireside chat with. So if you're interested in Raiffeisen Bank, this is the perfect time. How do we navigate that noise? How do you guys do it at Raiffeisen?
Okay, maybe, yeah, I can take it from head office perspective, and then Daniel can continue because he's actually facing the customer. We are looking, obviously it's a hype, so let's not hide this, and we've seen hypes coming and going, right? But AI is nothing new. We've seen presentation. We have been doing AI, we used to call it analytics or advanced analytics, and it's not really something that we look at it and say, wow, okay, this is so new for us. What is really new is the fact that these generative AI developments have changed the way that we can interact with the models. So in the past, it was really something that only selected people with some knowledge, you need to speak data, right? So to be access to be in this private club of people who can deal with it, but now it's really democratized and all of us can use it and interact with the models in a way that's really convenient. So definitely this has our attention. How to navigate through the buzz? Obviously we look at what we do best and where do we need to help with. And you've seen the clusters earlier. Obviously, customer experience is something where we really look into it. It's a driving force. So can we use this in order to increase customer experience? By all means, we will look into it. And of course, we would look into other parts of our processes where we think we can do better if we change or use a new technology to leverage. But yes, customer experience, obviously. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's absolutely true.
For us, let's say how to navigate. As it was mentioned, artificial intelligence in banking industry is nothing new. For example, as a Tatra, we implemented already, let's say, voice biometry 10 years ago, which is based on the AI systems. Signature biometry, it was like 15 years ago. It is also based on some, let's say, artificial intelligence technology. When we, let's say, started with data science team 5 years ago, where the hype was rising up, we started with the education of the company. So this was the first part, going from the board bottom to the employees. 4 years ago, when we implemented the chatbot based on the NLP in Slovak language, and the Slovak language is heavily under-resourced, so we needed a lot of the training data. So we merged, let's say, the education with this chatbot or NLP, and we created internal annotation platform. So currently, all of our 4,000 employees can annotate the sentences from the chatbot and train the chatbot, learn about how NLP works through, let's say, gamification like process. And we are really cautious where we put the stamp artificial intelligence. So also when we communicate to media, we often use statistical models, algorithms. So we are really cautious how we use term artificial intelligence, also inside the organization and outside the organization. And yes, the education is a big part. And currently, when the hype around the ChatGPT and this generative AI started, we immediately saw the demand to our department being higher. Okay, we need to know more. It was not like everybody started to buy everything. So yes, education is the baseline.
Maybe there is one thing that does not change, and that thing is always the customer. At the end of the day, you guys, whatever you're looking or whatever use cases you want to test or you want to validate and implement, the customer is always in the middle of the equation. Within knowing this, how do you take into consideration looking at use cases, and specifically if there are some use cases? I know you mentioned the chatbot that you guys have been working on for quite some time and this up and running, but other use cases that you're currently looking at? I mean, in the keynote we had before, there were a lot of use cases that were highlighted, but what is specifically the area that you guys are looking at?
I can start maybe. Okay, so we do a lot of the use cases also besides the customer experience. Where we see the huge value is in maybe not so sexy areas like treasury, asset management, and so on. So for example, we were the first bank in the region to have deployed machine learning model to let's say, recommend portfolio managers of buying and selling some instruments. But it took like 3 years to, let's say, go from the testing different approaches to the models, to deploying this model to really trade with the customer's money. So currently this model is trading around 100 million euros, but it was really not so easy to put artificial intelligence or advanced statistical model to some portfolio. Also in the treasury area, how we can predict the deposits and so on. So these are the topics. On the side of the customers, I'm the huge fan of the data ethics and the responsible usage of AI. So we saw in 2018 around the Cambridge Analytica. So we are exploring the topic of data ethics for several years. And let's say we are let's say discussing also internally what is maybe the future of work with the customer data. So how much is too much data that we have about the customer? If, like, for example, Apple communication is currently privacy is Apple. So how the customer will shift in this area. But also from the customer point of view, we got, let's say, transactional data. And currently, we deployed this a few days ago. We deployed, for example, safe to spend model. So based on the historical transaction of the customer, we want to predict for the customer how much money can he spend till the end of the month to be still in the let's say black numbers. But this was not easy because customers need to have this information very simplified. So we cannot deploy something heavy on the customer which he will not understand. So this is one of the usage. And currently we are, let's say, building around this more like virtual financial advisory. But it all started also a few years ago by starting with the labeling of the data. So that's why we have the data governance and advanced analytics together. So we started labeling our transactional data 5 years ago to have really good quality input for everything we want to do in the future.
And now if I may add, because this is really what's happening, and what this year brought new is really the possibility for us to use the unstructured data. So what Daniel is telling you about is really how you have a transaction, you can label it, you can use it. So this is structured data. The unstructured data is what we have, I don't know, the text on social media or annual reports, all kinds of stuff. And I saw in one of the presentations this internal knowledge databases. For me personally, this is a use case I really like, and we are exploring it in a few of our units. How to really ask our internal databases, which you can imagine are huge. We are a hugely regulated industry, and how to feed this trove of information into a model that then you can ask, like you would ask your colleague, how do I do this? I have this situation and help me solve it. And I remember that with branches, for example, they spent like 5 to 10% of their time was just spent supporting other colleagues or answering questions or looking for information. So, and this is something that doesn't help the customer too much to feel happy while, you know, their advisor is looking for information, and also the person itself, the advisors. And I think we're maybe sometimes not looking at our own people well enough, but this is a use case that I really love, that really takes care also of the people inside the bank to help them navigate better really, really complicated structures, procedures, and all that kind of stuff. It's quite complex. And if we manage to do this, so we are testing it now, and I think it will bring huge satisfaction both on employee side and on the customer side at the same time. And this can be deployed obviously everywhere, so not only for the people who work with the customer, but for each and every one of us looking for information into our databases. I also remember in the past when we had brainstormings about what do we need to fix inside our organization, and every single time people will say, we have huge valuable information, a huge amount of valuable information inside the company, but we don't talk to each other, we don't have time, there are silos and everything. Now imagine we put all this information into a model and we can query it every time, like how do I do this? Did anybody tackle this situation in the past? And we have the information, and I can just ask the model, and then I find an answer, and I easily find who to talk to. And I think this is golden, really, absolutely golden.
As we look towards the future, you know, before in the keynote, we heard the twin of the world or other things that might be a bit more, you know, completely extremes. Where is the opportunity right now in AI? What are the low-hanging fruits, and how can banks that are here with us in the room also benefit from this low-hanging fruits? Maybe if anyone in the audience has the key to like that answer. No?
I actually found a good advice, so I cannot really comment what's actually the low-hanging fruit, but I heard an advice into how to identify. It was, where do you have problems recruiting people? And this is an area that if you have a trouble recruiting people for that particular area, maybe it's something you need to look into and see if you can fix it, including with some bots and stuff. So maybe it's a good tip how to find it.
Maybe I will just add, because the current hype is mainly from the side of people who were not aware about the AI. But if we take a look into banks, we are exploring this technology for several years, so the low-hanging fruit is already taken in some of the use cases, because I remember when we started also this 5 years ago, also advanced analytics team in Raiffeisen started, and we needed to sell the let's say machine learning and this nice topic, so we picked the low-hanging fruit that we were able to do. Currently, I see that it is mainly about the managing of the expectation of the general public, what can it do and cannot, and managing expectation of the organization. And as I foresee with this generative AI, which is just the part of the deep learning. It is not like general AI. We need to, let's say, tackle how people will use it into day-to-day life to increase efficiency.
Could we say the low-hanging fruit is the collaboration with the startups?
That was always the case. It's nothing new, right?
It was.
We have Elevator Lab since, I think, 2017. Yes. So I think we were the first in our region to have such a program for collaborating with startups and networking and plugging in fintechs in our network. So, yeah.
Maybe looking a bit more at the dark side of things. What are the, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of discussions around regulation going on. What are the risks right now that we're seeing, or how are these risks going to be tackled in terms of, upcoming regulation? I know one of the things we discussed before was educating people. We have to educate people within our organizations so that they understand what we're talking about and they can also, participate out of it. What do you both see as risks coming up? What do you see, on the regulatory environment? I mean, Jan could have told us a lot of regulation, but and how can this, benefit us educating people and helping people understand better about AI?
First of all, I'm a former law student, so for me regulation is important. I think it's important to have the safeguards. Obviously, nobody wants to stifle innovation, but some safeguards are needed. And even if people make fun of the EU by being, the champions of regulation, I think it's highly needed. And the EU Act is really a good step in this direction. And not only the EU Act, but all the Data Act and starting with GDPR, and now we have a Data Act and so on. So I think it's really important for us to act responsibly and safeguard this data. This data is not ours, it's customer data, it belongs to the people. It's not like we picked it and we do no matter what we want to do with it, so safeguarding is important. Also, I believe in transparency very much. Whenever we use such a model, I think it's important to have disclosure and to tell people that we are using the solutions and be fully open into the use of such tools. I think this is really important. And of course, from then the perspective of the bank, it's really important for us to use it responsibly as employees, not to upload, information of the wrong kind or where we shouldn't. And this is something that historically we've been good at. So we have been historically good at guarding and safeguarding information. So I hope we can manage to continue to do that, whether it's regulated or it's just common sense, and we do it because this is the right thing to do.
I fully agree that this Artificial Intelligence Act will definitely help, because, as I mentioned, the customer is not aware what is possible with the data. And also, when GDPR came, it was, I think, one of the best regulations to protect the customer data, because, yes, customer cannot imagine what is possible with the data. As a bank, yes, we are used to operate in regulated industry, and we foresee also this regulation as an opportunity, because there will always be malicious players, and this regulation will avoid them to enter the market. And yes, if we will be able to build responsible innovations, as it was mentioned, it will help us definitely in the future. So I really appreciate that this regulation will come into effect. There were several discussions in relation to definition of artificial intelligence, which was now changed, so it is fine. And yes, maybe as some risks for the banks, it will be maybe, yes, as a traditional banks, we have also some legacy systems, and this regulation will also include some IT implications or change in the core system, so this might be a little bit more difficult and challenging, but not manageable.
As we head towards the last 5 minutes, I also want to open it for the audience, because the same way that there were questions for the startups, there might be some questions or people that do want to also know something. I don't know if we have any questions from anyone. We do.
In my opinion, of course, many, if not all banks will try to use AI and large language models to improve the client interface. But have you thought about a future scenario where the clients themselves will also use those technologies to maybe in a better way pick the right products or the right investment products across different banks and financial institutions? Because even clients maybe with less financial education might be able then to have a better choice in their investment or insurance or whatever product.
I could comment that this is also nothing new. We've seen credit comparison sites, loan comparison sites for a long time, and investment comparison sites. So these sites have existed a long time ago. They would feed on the public information. They would make comparisons. So sure, what's important for us is to have the good products and be present and have the correct information. And of course, then in our own interfaces, we can advise and make a difference, right? And advise maybe in a friendlier way, maybe avoid this financial language that not many clients speak. We tend to speak in really highly specialized language. So I do hope that the new models will help us translate this financialese, or how could I put it, into, you know, something more friendly and yeah, really better, easier to understand for the customer. So I really hope that I see interfaces going towards this, towards a more natural communication with the customer. But yeah, financial comparison sites, nothing new really.
Yes, I agree that this might be also opportunity for some startups, but what we see as a difference, and when I discussed with my peers in other markets, when you build the model that is recommending something to customer, and you are bank which is trustworthy, this model needs to be almost 100% sure, because we are the bank, we are the one that are trustworthy. And this is the huge challenge, how to have confident model and confident recommendation, where a lot of these models are multiple millions of parameters and the black box we cannot explain. And for example, if you come to the branch and your financial advisor make mistakes, okay, we are human, we make mistakes, doesn't matter. But if one time the advice from the bank will be wrong, customer will never ever trust that bank or that model again. So this is the huge challenge why we as a bank are, let's say, cautious in implementing also simple use cases to the customers. Because, for example, also this Safe to Spend, we built it like 1 year to be sure that, okay, the number that we give to the customer is remotely confident what customer awaits. But if you are a startup and you try, okay, you can move fast, break things, as it was spoken by Facebook. But yes, this is the difference between the, let's say, traditional banks and how we approach the models.
If I may add something, because our colleagues in retail use this expression that I like very much, that we build a digital bank with a human touch. I think that also when we talk about algorithms and artificial intelligence and whatever, the fact that a human supervises and will filter the results and will eventually intervene, it makes a difference, and it will continue to make a difference. Of course, our brains cannot process as much information as a computer can, but then we can add this extra layer that will ultimately make a difference in advisory, and I think this will not be lost.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? No? Perfect. Then with that, I would like to give our panelists a big round of applause. Thank you very much for being with us. I will take that. Perfect. And move on to the next part, where we still have some amazing startups. I don't know if we can go to the next slide. Perfect. Saidot, we've got Bera. Yes. There you go. Big round of applause for Bera.
Thank you. It sure feels like Finnish sauna at the moment. So I don't know if you know the Finnish event Startup Sauna, so this is exactly like that. But hey, my name is Veera Siivonen, and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Saidot. I also have our CEO here with me, Mary, and we both like to talk to you later if you like to. But hey, let me start asking you first. When the GDPR, like the privacy-related regulations appeared, how many of you found it a bit troublesome to implement them in the companies? Yeah, quite many. Are you from big? Are you also from big organizations, or were you in big organizations at that point? Yeah, quite many were. Well. Privacy-related things were important then. They were important, but they were a bit troublesome for companies. And now AI comes with regulations as well, which are important, but they will also cause a lot of work for companies. So that's another kind of organization. So that's what Saidot does. So we make it simple for companies and governmental organizations to build trustworthy AI systems and deploy them by making the governance as simple as possible. So we can move on now. So in a nutshell, we simplify AI governance. So we just heard that AI risks are important to take into account. Here are some of our clients we work with, and with them we simplify the AI governance so that the companies and the organizations can create trust with their stakeholders and customers. So in practice, we are an AI policy manager and governance co-pilot. So let's have a look how it works. So here is a view of your AI systems and their system cards in one place. And all starts from the policy template you want to comply with. For example, we have already now the expected EU AI Act as a policy template. You can start ensuring that you comply with. When we go then deeper to the actual system card, you can see in details how it looks like. It, for example, includes risk management area, where we have a risk catalog that you can pick risks from, and we suggest risks related to those use cases that you have, but then you can also, of course, use your own risks. And when you use the kind of our known risk catalog, then we also update you on those risks if there are kind of new information happening there. When it's in operational mode and in production, you can have it integrated with your ML ops tools so that you know if there are kind of critical data drifts or system changes, and then make changes also here on this side. And overall, it has this kind of like good task management practice built in. In addition to that, it allows you to manage third parties and communicate transparently about your AI. So you can, for example, request transparency related to AI from your suppliers. So you basically invite your supplier to give their share of the documentation in your system. And yeah, this is what's happening here at the moment. And this is something that the purchasing departments are increasingly asking for. So they want to know how the AI, what kind of AI systems are used in different kinds of products, and how they are governed. So that's a tool for that. And next, we will go to transparency, creating transparency for other stakeholders, for example, customers, the public. We make it easy to publish the information that you have from the systems and the AI safety of the systems. We make it easy to publish that as a PDF report or a microsite. Directly from our system, so you only have to have it in the information in one place, and then we can easily publish kind of transparency reports from that one. For example, some of our governmental customers, like Scottish Government, they have published their AI registry from our platform. So they are publicly showing the use cases for AI that they have. So basically, we are experts in AI safety and in compliance related to AI, and we simplify the governance of AI for you, so that you can save time and money, because you don't need all the AI experts in your team to follow all the policy changes that are happening and all the risk changes that are happening. And you can also move forward with AI faster with this more efficient way of working. And yeah, this is basically it. So we'll be there later if you want to come and talk to us and hear a bit more about us. Thank you.
Do we have any questions? We do.
Thanks. Hi. Thanks for that. What is different about AI governance? Like, what is unique about AI governance versus other governance topics that I would need a specific platform that's only focused on AI?
Yeah, one, I guess that it depends on what you compare it with, but one special thing is that the policy and the requirements are changing quite fast and developing, still in the development phase. So so it will be more difficult to keep up with everything with the AI. Also, the kind of the knowledge about the risks is something that we will learn about all the time. So once if you so in AI, you need to be wary of kind of all the kind of latest information related to the AI models that you're using, and include kind of the latest risk information also. So that's probably, the other fields are not as fastly moving and changing as the AI.
So is your platform also then connected to the company's like actual models that they've deployed, and then you dynamically integrate on that side?
Yeah, so we can implement or integrate with the ML ops tools. So we are not competing with those, but we integrate with them so that we notice if you have big changes in the model that you are deploying, or if you have data drifts or something like that, and then the kind of our platform is notified so that you can check that it's all still kind of valid and makes sense. Also, we are following kind of the most used models, and also notifying our customers if they are using them, so that if there are new risks coming, that our customers will know that, hey, now this new risk was discovered, and now you have to take that into account. It's a bit like in security, web security, and I think it will be like that also going forward, that you will have this kind of always on component in this.
Any other questions? No? Then a big
Okay.
round of applause.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll keep that one. Moving on to our next startup, we have Parashift. Stefan, big round of applause for him. There we go. And you might want that one.
Thank you very much. I'm Stefan. I'm the head of partner management of Parashift. And what Parashift is doing is intelligent document processing, or intelligent document understanding. And I know document sounds rather boring, I'm sorry. Because many people believe that we have to handle less and less documents in the future, because everything is starting to get digital. But the reality is completely the other way around. We see that corporates and our customers have to deal with more and more documents, because more and more documents are created digital as PDF. The amount of physical paper, of physical documents is decreasing, thankfully, but we create more and more digital documents. We are enterprise solutions. We work for around 150 enterprise customers, and we do serve quite a few banks and insurance companies already. And our customers have to deal with millions of documents a month, and this still creates a lot of effort and a lot of pain, basically. This was too fast. What's very important with Parashift is that we want to implement very easy with an existing IT landscape. all of our customers already do have a document archive, a document management system, and a rather mature IT landscape. And we want to implement easily and smoothly via API and connect with a system where documents are processed. We receive the documents, we do extraction, so we extract the business relevant data from the document and provide it to a business application to save manual work and speeden up processes. This is very important. Oh, sorry. What makes us special is that we started back in 2018 fully all into cloud computing and machine learning. So we started to train machine learning models in 2018, and today we run around 2,000 machine learning models in parallel in the cloud. Helps us understanding documents. And we train the documents and the machine learning models over certain customers and over certain document types. I do not want to dive that deep into this machine learning thing. If you are interested in the details, please approach me afterwards. But the business impact is that this creates way more training data than with legacy approaches. And this enables us to automate and digitize all these small volume document processes you have to deal with. Even if a customer has only a couple of thousand documents a year, we can digitize and automate these processes. For example, think of a mortgage process. Think of you want to buy a property and you do not want to buy the property with cash. Of course, you have the cash, but you do not want to spend it. So you apply for a mortgage at your bank, and what your banking advisor is doing is asking for a bunch of documents, like salary statement, your deposit statement, land register statements, insurance policies, a bunch of different documents, and you scan it with your mobile app, all in one scan, and then you send it via email to your bank advisor or you upload it somewhere. And then usually somebody sits there and separates the documents and key enters the data in a credit software. This is what happens every day. And this is where we can save time and money. So I try to start a movie. Yeah. This is how it looks like. Here you see a bunch of documents sent into Parashift. In real life, this is done purely via API. And the software understands what kind of document is it, and the software knows which kind of data we have to extract from which kind of document. And yeah, this gives structured data back to a business person and saves time and money. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if this is, yeah, this is the next one. The USP of Parashift is that we provide a low-code platform. Everybody who can use an internet portal can use Parashift. We want to make it very easy to configure specific documents because we know every enterprise has specific requirements and specific needs in terms of their processes. And it's very easy to configure individual document type with Parashift. And this enables you to automate all different small volume document processes. Last but not least, regarding the software, we integrated also large language models, which is top of mind everywhere. And this is very interesting for us as well because this helps us to understand the full content of a document. We do have the OCR, the full data of a document, and then we can send it into a large language model and ask, for example, of a summary of the document. Or we can ask for the cancellation paragraph of the document or give a summary of the cancellation paragraph. This is rather early stage, but this will create a lot of innovation and a lot of things will be possible with large language models. So as a quick summary, if you want to automate processes, document processes please think of Parashift. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any questions from the audience. We do.
Is there an upper limit of the size of the documents which can be processed, like 10 pages, 20 pages?
No. No limit. I mean, we do have, in our SLAs, we do have a limit of 30 megabyte per document. We can deal with larger documents, but we are used to process contracts, for example, with hundreds of pages. No worries.
Any other questions?
The question would be before, I think you mentioned PDF documents, right? Does it depend on the format of this document, or can it be basically a simple picture, or let's say a old document which is a different font that is not easily recognizable?
The font doesn't matter, it's a good question. We can deal with every picture format like TIFF, GIF, PDF, and there's another one I forgot. Usually there are 4 formats for a picture file. If you have something else, you can easily format it to PDF. Internally, we reformat every document into a PDF and then run the OCR. We always scan the entire document and extract the data from the PDF.
Yeah.
Does it understand written, like handwriting?
Yes. We use Google or Microsoft OCR technology, which is state of the art, and Google made very big progress on handwritten. It's not as good as digital, but it's pretty good.
Do you use any kind of verification, like checking that information is not altered?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good question. We are working with 2 different confidence scores. First, the OCR score, meaning is the content of the field correct, or how big is the likelihood that the machine thinks this is correct? 90%, 95%. And the extraction confidence, meaning how sure is the machine that this field is really, for example, the sender or the receiver or the account number. And we provide both confidence scores via API, and you can configure for every field which confidence score do you need in your process. So for some processes you need a very high confidence, and in some a lower confidence, and the lower, the more automated the process is running. So you can configure it very individually.
So are you experienced with extracting and analyzing data from land register excerpts as well?
Absolutely.
So
it's challenging. Grundbuchauszüge,
German
all these
Grundbuchauszüge.
German Grundbuchauszüge. This is one of the most challenging documents, but it's certain content you can definitely extract. It depends on what exactly, but it's definitely possible.
So we could have a try.
Yes, so for sure. Okay. I would love to.
I think for a startup, there's never a challenge.
No, never.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Big round of applause.
Thank you.
Perfect. And then last but not least, big round of applause for Mike from Mostly AI. Thank you.
Thank you. We are mostly AI because we fundamentally believe that the human is still part of AI. And so we're mostly AI. But we do recognize that there is a common theme that has run through all of the sessions that we've talked about today. Anyone want to say what was the common thing that we heard in almost every session?
AI.
Data. Data, right? We're here for data and analytics, but ultimately we need data to train the AI models, to test the AI models, for ML ops to validate those models. But we also, as Carolina said, have to think about the ethics of that data. The regulations are part of it. The controls that are in place around privacy and data are important, but your brand is the most important thing. And ensuring that your brand is not damaged by a data breach is one of the most difficult challenges that financial institutions face. So we all need data, and we all have free access to data, right? How many people here have free access to data that you need for training models? Anyone? No data scientist in the room. One. Yeah, this is the problem that we face. This is the problem that mostly was created 6 years ago to solve, is to provide fair and ethical access to data across organizations. There are many studies that show that organizations who practice data democratization, sharing that data across the organization, perform better, have better revenue, and better customer satisfaction. But that's incredibly difficult to do. So how do you do it? Well, one of the hottest topics today in AI is generative AI synthetic data. And that is what Mostly does. So let me show you how we do it. I don't have the clicker. I'll let you guys do it. So first of all, this demonstration is done on our free version, completely free, online. I did this demo. I recorded this video myself, and I say, if I'm able to do it, anybody can do it, right? So it's very simple. First, you give it access to data. You either upload a data file or you give it access to a database connector. In this case, I'm just uploading a synthetic or a bank marketing data set, just a simple CSV file. And you can see what that looks like. We're analyzing it. This is the data file that I uploaded. It was 40-something thousand rows of data, enough that we can learn the patterns and correlations and understand how that data is represented. But it also gives us enough information that we're able to then create a completely synthetic private copy of that data. And so once I've taken a look at the different types of data, I can now go in and the system will automatically detect what the data types are. Is this a categorical variable, a numeric variable? Is this time series data where I'm looking at transactions over a period of time? I can handle all of those data types. And what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to extend the capability of the data. Beyond just data augmentation, creating more data sets, I can now impute missing values. So when you have data that's not there, we can use the AI to learn the patterns and put in values that are representative of the source data. I can also rebalance that data to overrepresent those AML scenarios or those very underrepresented classes of data, and I can increase that to make it easier to train a model on. Now, I can also decide how much data do I want to generate. Once I've trained that model, I can continually deploy unlimited amounts of data. And once I start running the job, you can see it's pending. While we're doing that, I'll show you that we can also do this for database. So it doesn't just have to be an uploaded. If I'm a data consumer who doesn't have access to the source data, someone else has connected me up to a cloud storage bucket or to one of our internal databases. They've built a data catalog, which I can now go in and see. These are all the tables that are represented in that data catalog. I can't see the source data because the source data is not present in the system. We've trained based on the source data, and then we don't have access to that anymore. Now, once I've completed my synthesis, you can see I've got an accuracy score of 98.5, meaning I have highly representative data. My synthetic data looks very much like my source data, and I've passed internal privacy checks. I can compare both univariate and bivariate distributions, and because I've rebalanced the data, I've changed the synthetic data to be more representative of what I want. So in this case, you can see here that I've altered particular variables, and by altering one variable, the system recognizes that if I am changing one variable, then the entire distribution of that data set will change to represent what that rebalanced variable looks like. So now I have control over the data, and I can use that to train my AI model in a way that gives me greater access and greater power of how I utilize this synthetic data. Now, once I've done that, I can simply download the data. If it's a database, I can have it right back to the original data set. I can put it into a data catalog. I can make it accessible and available to both internal and to partners. So beyond just the data augmentation use cases, the AI training, the data analytics, data sharing is incredibly important. And for the startup elevator, right, the idea of working with startups is very great, but it's also very difficult to share your information with other companies. by creating synthetic data sets to share with them, you can often accelerate those proof of concepts or pilots and get about a 2x increase in the number of those. So once I've done that, now I've got my synthetic data. I'm able to use it just like I'm using my production data. And I'm freely accessible because I know that there's no representation and no ability to re-identify. So no anonymization. I'm not doing any masking. I'm not doing any hiding. I'm not doing anything rules-based. This is completely new data that has no correlation back to the original data other than it is perfectly representative of it. Make sense? So one of the things I'm most excited about is a new use case that we've just started working with, which is to monitor or to simulate drift in data. So we talk about the AI models and the requirement to start to make sure that those models are performing as expected, but we know that data changes over time. And so now we've built a capability to massively scale the data synthesis and vary the data slightly by category. So generate 1,000 data sets, train your models on those, and identify the effect of drift on those data sets. So many of the other tools here I'm going to talk to you guys about because we can certainly help enable the explainability and the overall training and capability for those data sets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any questions from the audience. No? It's your last occasion.
They want a drink.
It's the last, I know. Well, another big round of applause. Thank you very much, Mike, for being with us. And with that said, we've hit the most important time of the day. Yes, it's drinking. Big round of applause also for the team that made it possible today. From the Plug and Play side, feel free to reach out to us, but also speak with us now. And yeah, as we wrap up on the next slide, I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. We did put together an article. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you. We did put together an article on all the startups that participated today as well, and their thoughts, their views, and how the industry is moving forward. With that said, thank you everyone for joining us today. Big round of applause to yourself. Let's do it. That should be the biggest one. There you go. And now we do have drinks downstairs on the 6th floor on our amazing terrace. And I am going to ask you, if you feel comfortably, to use the staircase instead of the elevators to protect our planet. Thank you, everyone.